Thanks for tuning in to Bourbon Drop. I'm your host Myron. Today we've got Old Forester 1920, old label, new label. I know what you guys are saying. I said so much about this bottle. Hopefully you ran out and got yourself a bottle. It is just a special bottle. When it comes to bourbon, it's got its drawbacks, but it does have everything that I'm looking for. So we'll get into a slight review and a comparison between the old label and the new label. Let's do it.
Bottle drop, bottle drop.
Long time coming. Old Forester 1920, one of my favorites from the Whiskey Row line. Old Forester 1920 has been one of my favorites pretty much since I tried it. I tried the 1897 first, wasn't that pleased with it. Got my hands on a bottle of the 1920, fell in love with it instantly. 1920 is everything you want it to be in a bourbon. It is liquid brown sugar, it is cinnamon, it is oak, it is $60, which is a great price point. It is bananas all day long. I can't say enough good things about 1920. That's why I measure everything in the $60 range or $60 category by 1920. And another good thing about it, you can always find it on the shelf. There's only been maybe once or twice since I've been buying 1920 that I couldn't find it on the shelf. 1920 is always readily available. One thing that they did do though, you see two different bottles. So they switched from the old label to the new label. Some people say they can taste the difference. I was sitting there drinking the old label one day, and I was like, man, this is good. Ran out of the old label, got my hands on a bottle of the new label, and it seemed like it had a little bit more barrel char in it. So I told myself, I said, when I get a chance to do it, I'll do a blind, side by side, and I'll get them together, and I'll see which one is the best. 1920 of the Whiskey Row line. So when I first got into bourbon, it's funny, I stayed away from Old Forester because of the name. I stayed away from Old Forester and Wild Turkey, two of the best bourbons in the game. And the same reason why you stay away from things because of the name is the same things, and is the same reason why you're drawn to things because of the bottle design or because of the name. 1920 said Old Forester. I stayed away from everything that said old and everything that said wild. I stayed away from the paper label turkey because it had an ugly turkey on the label. I for some reason, I did not see that and quality being one and the same. So I skipped over Old Turkey, skipped over Old Forester. I initially started my bourbon journey with Booker's. I can't remember what batch it was, but it was somewhere around 2013, 2012 or 2013. So then I gravitated towards Knob Creek. But like I said, just stayed away from anything that said wild or anything that said old. So that was very old Barton, that was Old Forester, that was old anything. I just didn't want to have it in my glass because I felt like the name old meant cheap. Felt like they were using the name old, so old bourbon, get it in a glass, oh, it's got to be some good stuff, and then you wind up pouring it out because it's horrible. Little did I know, I was skipping over some gems. I mean, Old Forester 100 with the orange label on it, that is some of the best 100 cheap budget bourbons you can buy. Same thing with Wild Turkey 101. Wild Turkey 101 is one of my favorites. Now, it's about to be kicked out by something, and I'll probably do a blind just to be able to let you guys see what it is. I don't want to tell you what it is right now because it might shock some of you, but just be on the lookout for that video. But anyway, back to Old Forester. So this Old Forester has a new label, this Old Forester has the old label. The old label was more brown, rustic looking, where the new label is a little more modern. So they tried to clean it up a little bit and I guess sell it to a younger crowd. The thing about Old Forester is the 1920 is supposed to be Prohibition style. So anything sold at Prohibition 1920, the year 1920, was bottled at 115. So that's why you see the nice label with the blue strap and it says 115 in the circle, and this one is pretty much the same way. 115 proof. So it does drink. It does drink up to its proof. That is one of the only drawbacks that I will say Old Forester has. Old Forester, as delicious as it is, with the banana notes, the brown sugar notes, the vanilla notes, everything about it is good, except Old Forester can be a little rough on the throat. Old Forester, I would equate it to sometimes drinking a bag of jagged rocks and pulling them back up. And I know that doesn't sound fun. Look, trust me, I know it doesn't sound fun. It is delicious. It is delicious going down. But for some reason, after it gets down, when it comes, when you feel that feeling in your throat that lets you know you drink a high proof bourbon, that's what it feels like. That's what I equate it to anyway. But enough talking, let's get into them. I'm gonna go ahead and get these prepped for the blind. So give me a few minutes, I'll be right back to you. Alright, so I think we're set up and ready to go. I put both glasses on top of the Lazy Susan. I've got 2 Glencairns with nothing in them, no labels on them. And I did have to put this sheet on here to kind of keep the bottles from sliding off. I tried to practice this before and it didn't go so well. So that's when I realized that the glasses need something to grip a hold to. I've been waiting to do this for a long time, so I'm eager to see which one is going to turn out on top. Alright, so I'll leave the Glens there. We'll go with this one first. On the nose. Old Forester just hits so right, man. I mean, liquid brown sugar and banana. Liquid brown sugar and banana all day long. And I know I say all day long a lot, but all day long. For it to be 115 proof, you don't get any punch of alcohol. You don't get any sting to the nose. It is just well balanced, well rounded. I tried to do some research. Brown-Forman, they don't really put out how old the whiskey inside of, well, the batch whiskey is inside of 115. So, I'm sorry, inside of 1920. But the only thing I can find is it's older than 4.5 years old, and it's younger than 6 to 8 years old. So, hopefully that helps a little bit. But for the whiskey to be that young and have the flavors that it does, I have no idea. I tip my hat to the people at Brown-Forman. The way they batch this stuff. Heat Cycle Warehouse, Warehouse K. Oh. And don't let the name heat cycling thing make you think that it is this elaborate way of aging bourbons or causing the age of bourbons to speed up. Basically, in the wintertime, or not necessarily the wintertime, but when it gets about 60 degrees outside, they pump the warehouses up to about 90 degrees and then they cycle the heat throughout the cold weather. So that's pretty much all it is. It does impart great flavor though. I will say that before I became a Brown-Forman fan, I didn't know anything about it. I really didn't pick any of the bottles up, but once I picked the bottles up, I was like, man, this is some good stuff. So the fact that they can get those flavors out of such a minimally aged bourbon that you would think would be much older than it is, that's incredible. I'm gonna wait just a little bit. Let's go to the palate. once again, they make good products. 1920 is just good. That is barrel char, a slight bit of honey, touch of banana, maybe a little dark chocolate, cocoa powder, spicy spice in the back. Spice in the back. Yeah. I get a lot of citrus. Normally after I sip a little bit and go back to the nose, I'll be able to pull out a couple more flavors or a couple more notes, but just a little bit, maybe a little bit of alcohol. It wasn't there at first. All right, time to clean it up a little bit. I'll be right back. Had to let the water get the crackers out. That was a little rough. A little rough. They're very similar in the nose. This one smells more syrupy sweet. This is more syrupy sweet. This one is more, I would say, it's still brown sugar, but it's more like a pancake syrup. I don't get the hint of banana out of this one for some reason. Maybe a touch of citrus. Oak. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. Citrus, oak, maybe a touch of banana. I don't get as much banana out of this one as I did the other glass. And a syrupy sweetness. Let's go to the palate. I don't get any banana on that one. That is more citrus, syrup, honey. And that's crazy because I will say this, when I go back to something that's brown forming from something that's not, the banana just shines through. Drinking them side by side, this one barely had any. And it's really, surprisingly, it's not there on the palate. And that's one of the biggest things that I love about Old Forester is that banana note. If you talk to a lot of bourbon drinkers that are familiar with Old Forester products, even in the Jack stuff, you'll pick up some banana. Jack, you'll get banana and you'll get graham cracker. But in Old Forester, a lot of the note is just, it's heavy on banana. Yeah, this one actually smells like a little older, like possibly older oak. Yeah. Let me go back to this one. Now, I'm not going to clean anything this time. I'm just going to go from one to the other. Wow, that changed up completely. Coming off of this one now went to syrupy sweetness, but like 10 times as much as this one was. Wow, that's all caramel. Heavy vanilla, heavy vanilla. One thing that hasn't come back is the banana. And I think it's because they're pretty close. If I went from a Bean product or a Heaven Hill product, I would be able to tell you what this is all day, but these are so close. Yeah, that's charry. If I had to make a guess right now without looking at the bottom, I would say that this one could possibly be the new 1920, or the 1920 with the new label. They could be different. They could be the same. I really don't know. They probably kept the mash bill the same. Maybe there was a different flavor to some people and some people picked up on it. I thought I picked up on a difference in flavor. It seemed like the new one had a little more char on it, but I don't know. Yeah, lemon deep in the glass. All right, back to the second glass. Lost all of the syrup notes. And if you ever do this side by side, it is so hard to sit there and pick out every note in each glass because it's constantly changing. It changes with the level of the glass. It changes because you tasted something that's slightly different from this, so now it picks up a little different on the palate. It's wild. I challenge anybody to try and do this side by side and know that they're getting the exact thing that's in the glass. That doesn't seem as charry. It actually seems more well-rounded. It's not as spiky. This one is a little charry and a little spiky. So I think it's time for the reveal. Glass A. Glass A. Wow. If you could see that. Wow. Wow. I just knew that this was this. So this, which I said is more rounded, is glass B or bottle B. And glass A, old label, glass A. So I hoped all that picked up. But I don't know, man. I had a good time making this. I knew for sure that I liked the old label better than I liked the new label. I just knew it was something different about them. And that proved to be minuscule at this point because they were not that different. It was hard. It was hard as hell picking them apart. I'll be honest with you. This one over here, glass A, a lot of char in it, which I thought I picked up more char out of the new label 1920. So anyway, I hope you've had as much fun watching this as I had making it. Till next time,